Hey guys, welcome back to Cruise Block. It's Allie, and today we're going to be sharing 23 first-time cruise tips that really work. Let's get into it. One of the major appeals of cruising is that there's something for everybody, from mouthwatering cuisine that will satisfy the foodies to ultimate thrills that will keep the adrenaline up for the most adventurous rushing. Whether you're a seasoned cruiser or looking forward to your first sailing, there are cruise tips and hacks to make sure that you're getting the most out of your vacation. So we've narrowed down the top 23 tips for the first-time cruisers to help make planning seem a little less overwhelming. Let's get into it. First, research the different cruise lines, ships, and itineraries. It's important to know what kind of vacation you're aiming for, so you can choose what cruise ship, cruise line, and itinerary fits your needs. Each of the 7 different mainstream cruise lines offer guests a different experience. Carnival Cruise Line, for instance, prides themselves on having the most fun ships at sea, while Royal Caribbean is known for having the most innovative, thrilling ships at sea. Even within each different cruise line, the experience can vary from ship to ship. Are you looking for a mega ship with zip lines, go-karts, water parks, and ropes courses? Or would you maybe prefer a smaller ship with a more intimate feel? Finally, how do you like to spend your days in port? If you're wanting to spend most days lounging on the beach, maybe you'd enjoy the crystal clear waters of the Eastern Caribbean. Are you looking to zip line through the jungle or swim with stingrays or venture off the beaten path on an ATV? Well, then the Western Caribbean would fulfill those ones. If you don't dedicate the time to doing proper research prior to booking your cruise, you might leave feeling disappointed. Number 2 is picking the right stateroom. Once you've settled on the cruise line, ship, and itinerary that meets your vacation wants and needs, you'll have to decide on a stateroom, which can range from a windowless interior cabin to a luxurious 3-bedroom villa with a private butler. So what's your budget, and do you have a preference for the location of your cabin? Would you rather splurge on the accommodation or perhaps extra activities on your cruise? Do you need a stateroom that will fit your large family? Those are all things you'll want to ask yourself. And don't automatically choose the cheapest stateroom either. It might not be the best fit for you and your travel party. Number 3 is to plan as much as you can in advance. Once you've picked the perfect cruise for you and your party, you'll gain access to the cruise line's online planner. Here you can book dining reservations, shore excursions, onboard Wi-Fi, and other add-ons in advance. Doing this ahead of time will ensure that once you board the ship, your vacation will be as hassle-free as possible. Booking in advance will also save you money. Depending on your cruise line, you might be able to receive 10 to 35% off the onboard prices of specialty restaurants, dining packages, shore excursions, and Wi-Fi. Number 4 is to routinely check the price of your cruise. It's important to check the price of your cruise even after you've booked it because most cruise lines will adjust the rate to honor lower pricing. While still on board my last Royal Caribbean cruise, I booked a sailing for next May. By frequently checking the price online, I was able to call and save $200 when I noticed that my fare dropped. However, note that most will not adjust after final payment, so it's important to read up on your cruise line's specific policies. Final payment date can vary based on itinerary, length of cruise, and cruise line. Number 5 is to read over the prohibited items. One of my friends recently went on their first cruise and they made sure to leave enough room in their luggage to pack a steamer for their dresses. Once they got on board, however, they learned that it was confiscated due to it being a prohibited item. Because cruise cabins usually only have a few outlets to use, many cruisers will try to bring power strips and surge protectors on board as well, which are not allowed. So be sure to read your cruise line's list of prohibited items in advance to avoid packing items that will be confiscated until the end of your cruise. Number 6 is to learn the ship lingo. Where's the aft of the ship, and what is the port side and what is the starboard side? What's a muster drill? These are all concepts that you should familiarize yourself with before your cruise. Knowing that, for instance, starboard is the right side of the ship will help you locate your stateroom and other venues on board. Number 7 is to know ship's time. Ship's time is arguably the most important thing to familiarize yourself with before going ashore. Throughout the voyage, you'll want to keep your watch set to the ship's time because if you've sailed into a different time zone, the local time will not always necessarily match the ship time. If you're sailing from Florida to Mexico, for example, your phone might try and connect to the local time, which is 1 hour behind, and you don't want to accidentally miss your ship's all aboard time because of this. Number 8 is to download the cruise line's app ahead of time. Cruise line apps are a great source of information even before you board. They serve as a guide that will help answer many questions you have ahead of time as well. You can check in and you can see your boarding information. You can also look at deck plans, your cruise itinerary, and even the restaurant menus. Once on board, the app will allow you to make reservations for shows, track onboard spending, and for an additional fee, chat with other guests. Number 9 is to arrive to your departure city a day early. You should always plan to arrive at the port at least one day before the ship is scheduled to depart. Even if you book a flight that arrives hours before the final call of embarkation, one flight delay could cause you to miss the ship, and the ship will not wait for you. Number 10 is to bring cash for the ports. While on the ship, you'll be able to charge everything to your onboard account. This, however, won't work when you disembark in the ports of call. Taxi drivers and local vendors selling souvenirs won't always accept credit cards, and depending on which credit card you have, you might even be charged a foreign transaction fee. While cruise ships have ATMs, the fees can often be steep, so it's best to plan to bring some cash from home for your cruise. Number 11 is to bring your own booze or soda. Most mainstream cruise lines will allow guests to bring a certain amount of wine, champagne, or beer on board with them. Royal Caribbean, for instance, allows guests 21 and up to bring 2 bottles of 750 milliliter wine or champagne per stateroom on board in their carry-on luggage. You can enjoy the beverages for free within your stateroom. However, a corkage fee of $15 will apply if consumed in public areas. They do not allow for beer or spirits to be brought on board. In addition to their alcohol policy, guests sailing on a Royal Caribbean cruise may bring 12 cans, bottles, or cartons on board. If you're hoping to save some money and you are unsure if your favorite beverage will be served, look into the policies of the specific cruise line you're sailing with. Number 12 is to pack all toiletries and medications you might need. If you forget something, you'll have to pay a premium for it on board. It's also important to note that cruise ships don't have full pharmacies or convenience stores on board, so your selections are pretty limited. Number 13 is to bring a carry-on bag. Guests are encouraged to bring a carry-on bag with them when they embark on the ship. Be sure to pack important items that you want to access throughout the day before your luggage is delivered to your stateroom. This could include sunscreen, sunglasses, bathing suits, medication, jewelry, and electronics. This way, you'll be able to start enjoying the ship without having to wait on your suitcase. Number 14 is to skip the buffet on embarkation day. One of the major appeals of cruising is all of the inclusive food. Who doesn't love to be able to eat whatever they want, whenever they want, without having to rack up a bill? That being said, skip the buffet on embarkation day. Don't worry, you'll have plenty of other opportunities to try it throughout your cruise, but there are other venues that serve lunch on your cruise, most likely, and that will be a more relaxing experience. Spend less time fighting crowds and waiting in line, and that means that you'll have more time to explore. Number 15 is don't rely on the buffet for breakfast either. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of buffets. They're crowded and people can be rather rude when reaching for their food. That being said, don't limit yourself to the buffet every morning for breakfast. One of the great things about cruises is that they have multiple complimentary dining options on board. You could try the main dining room because the food will be fresher since it's made to order, or if you're in a rush, most cruise ships offer another fast casual restaurant that will satisfy the morning foodies. Number 16 is be aware of when gratuity is automatic. Most mainstream cruise lines will automatically add daily gratuities to your onboard account if you don't prepay them in advance. The daily rate varies, but you can expect to pay somewhere between $16 to $20 a day if you're staying in a standard cabin, and if you choose to splurge on a suite, you'll be paying a little bit more, but probably not more than $25 a day. In addition, cruise lines will add an automatic service charge to beverages on board, including specialty restaurants and also spa services. Holland America, for instance, charges a non-refundable 18% service charge to optional purchases. You don't need to double tip for these purchases unless you feel as though the service warrants it. Number 17 is to skip the elevator. With a couple thousand people moving throughout the ship, the elevators can get crowded, especially during the meal times or port days. Even if you're able to squeeze on, it's likely that the elevator will make multiple stops. It's not going to take you straight to your destination, most likely. But that being said, it's usually faster to take the stairs. Plus, who doesn't love the opportunity to burn off a few extra vacation calories? Number 18 is to claim seats for shows at least 30 minutes early. Entertainment is one of the greatest appeals of cruising. From Broadway-style musicals to comedy shows that leave you in tears, there is truly something that'll make everybody happy. Seating for the show is first come, first served, so you'll want to make sure that you can arrive early to get a good seat. And while there are bartenders who will serve you at your seat prior to the show beginning, it's often quicker if you get a drink from an outside venue and bring it in with you. Number 19 is to be flexible, especially during hurricane season. Sometimes captains will have to make the hard decision to change or even skip ports of call due to unforeseen circumstances such as weather conditions that make tendering to shore unsafe. While this is true year-round, it occurs most during hurricane season at ports, so it's best to avoid the storm. Ships will usually sail around it. This, for instance, could mean that your Western Caribbean itinerary becomes a Bahamas itinerary. If that happens, try and make the most of your situation. Another day at sea could mean you have the opportunity to spend the afternoon doing things that you didn't think you'd have time for, or a different port of call could allow you to try a new excursion. Number 20 is to pack a light jacket or sweater. This might be common knowledge if you're sailing to Northern Europe or Alaska, but you should still plan on bringing a sweater or light jacket no matter the itinerary. At times, the top decks can get windy and chilly. A lot of cruise lines will have events on the top decks too, like movie nights or dance nights. I've also experienced evenings where the air conditioning was blasting in public areas. There's nothing worse than being cold while trying to enjoy dinner after a long day in port. Number 21 is to bring your own shampoo. While you'll get complimentary shampoo and body soap in your stateroom, you really should bring your own. The stuff that you'll find in your bathroom is fine, but it's far from the best. If washing your hair is more than a rinse and you're particular about the brand of shampoo that you use, definitely bring your own. It's easy to overlook things like shampoo because it's not something you might think about while packing your cruise, but definitely take this into consideration. Number 22 is to put your phone in airplane mode. Something else that you've likely never thought about are international roaming charges on your phone. Once your ship leaves port, you're out of regular cell coverage and you can rack up giant bills if you don't remember to put your phone in airplane mode. Cruise ships have cell antennas, but they're not included in any cell plan. This means it's considered roaming and they will charge your carrier big bucks to use. When you get on board, put your phone into airplane mode to disable its antenna. Don't worry, you can still connect to Wi-Fi while your phone is in airplane mode. Number 23 is to use a travel agent to book your cruise. If you haven't booked a cruise yet, use a good travel agent as the perfect resource to book your cruise. Travel agents provide a ton of value to someone booking a cruise because of their wealth of knowledge combined with how complicated booking a cruise can feel. In short, you don't know what you don't know about a cruise, and a travel agent can really save you time, money, and sanity. From the drawbacks of certain cabins to special rates available to various deposit rules, you should know a travel agent can make a big difference in booking your cruise. All right, everybody, those are our best first-timer cruise tips. Comment below if we missed any tips that you think first-timers should know, and be sure to like and subscribe to Cruise Blog so you can be notified every time we have a new video. Until next time, everybody, happy cruising.